through her bloodstream. Out of my mind, Raphael.
Why?
Because, as I've told you more than once, I'm not your puppet. She grit her teeth as he laid her on the cloud-soft bedding, the pillows lush, but the mattress held firm under her palms when she pulled herself up into a sitting position. A lover. God, she could still barely believe she'd gone and fallen for an archangel. Should be a partner, not a toy to manipulate. Cobalt eyes in a face that turned humans into slaves, that sweep of night-dark hair framing a face of perfect grace, and more than a little cruelty.
You've been awake exactly 3 days after spending a year in a coma, he told her. I've lived for more than 1,000 years. You're no more my equal now than you were before I made you immortal.
Anger was a wall of white noise in her ears. She wanted to shoot him as she'd done once before. Her mind cascaded with a waterfall of images on the heels of that thought. The wetly crimson spray of blood, a torn wing, Raphael's eyes glazed with shock. No, she wouldn't shoot him again, but he drove her to violence. Then what am I?
Mine.
Was it wrong that sparks sizzled along her spine at hearing that, at seeing the utter possession in his voice, the dark passion on his face? Probably, but she didn't care. The only thing she cared about was the fact that she was now tied to an archangel who thought the ground rules had changed. Yes, she agreed. My heart is yours. A flash of satisfaction in his eyes. But nothing else. She locked gazes with him, refusing to back down. So I'm a baby immortal. Fine, but I'm also still a hunter. One good enough that you hired me. Annoyance replaced the passion.
You're an angel.
With magic angel money?
Money is no object.
Of course not. You're richer than Midas himself, she muttered. But I'm not going to be your little chew toy.
Chew toy?
A gleam of amusement. She ignored him. Sarah says I can walk back into the job any time I want.
Your loyalty to the angels now overwhelms your loyalty to the Hunters Guild.
Michaela, Sarah, she murmured in a mock-thoughtful voice. Bitch goddess angel versus my best friend. Gee, which side do you think I'll choose?
It doesn't matter, does it?
He raised an eyebrow. She had the feeling he knew something she didn't. Why not?
You can't put any of your plans in action until you can fly.
That shut her up. Glaring at him, she slumped back against the pillows, her wings spread out on the sheets in a slow sweep of midnight, shading to indigo and darkest blue, before falling into dawn, and finally, a brilliant white gold. Her attempt at a sulk lasted approximately 2 seconds. Elena and sulking had never gone well together. Even Geoffrey Deveraux, who despised everything about his abomination of a daughter, had been unable to lay that sin at her feet. Then teach me, she said, straightening. I'm ready. The ache to fly was a fist in her throat, a ravaging need in her soul. Raphael's expression didn't change.
You can't even walk to the balcony without help. You're weaker than the fledglings.
She'd seen the smaller wings, smaller bodies, watched over by bigger ones. Not many, but enough. The refuge, she asked, is it a place of safety for your young?
It's everything we need it to be.
Those eyes of purest sin shifted toward the door.
Dmitri comes.
She sucked in a breath as she felt the temptation of Dmitri's scent wrap around her in a glide of fur and sex and wanton indulgence. Unfortunately, she hadn't gained immunity to that particular vampiric trick with her transformation. The flip side was also true. One thing you can't argue with, I can still track vampires by scent. And that made her hunter born.
You have the potential to be of real use to us, Elena.
She wondered if Raphael even knew how arrogant he sounded. She didn't think so. Being invincible for more years than she could imagine had made that arrogance part of his nature. But no, she thought, he could be hurt. When hell broke and an angel of blood tried to destroy New York, Raphael had chosen to die with Elena, rather than abandon her broken body on that ledge high above Manhattan. Her memories were cloudy, but she remembered shredded wings, a bleeding face, hands that had held her protectively as they descended to the adamantine hardness of the city streets below. Her heart clenched. Tell me something, Raphael. He was already